Hey everyone, welcome back to OFFBounds. Today we are here in our studio in New York with a completely different retail story that you're used to. If you are a retail leader wondering what physical retail looks like in the social media era, this episode is for you. Sammy Nussdorf launched Meadow Lane in Tribeca after documenting every step of the journey on TikTok.
Today I'm on site at Meadow Lane and I thought I'd give you guys a little construction update. This is when you walk in. This whole thing is going to be our beverage programs. These windows will slide up and down. So if you don't want to come in the store, you can just grab a coffee or a tea, or you can just come in through these doors. It's hard to see right now, but there's going to be these like beautiful planters here. The main POS for coffee is over here. Here we're going to sell our fresh pastries and breakfast burritos that are in an ambient temperature controlled casing here. Can't wait to see these domes go up because it's going to work great. Until next time.
Zero marketing dollars, radical curation, a community watching long before the doors ever opened. The result? Lines at 5 a.m., national headlines, and a powerful blueprint for how attention converts into foot traffic.
I'm about to try New York's most expensive new grocery store, Meadow Lane, and the line wrapped around the block. They even have a bouncer outside, and it's a maximum of 5 prepared items per person.
Line is so long at Meadow Lane. Like, it's so long. It's 12:35 p.m. I think it opened at 12 today. I wanted to come for lunch today as my lunch break.
I am Paula Macaggi, and this is episode 109 of my show. Welcome to OFFBounds. Sammy, welcome to OFFBounds. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you here, really, because you have a fascinating story. I went to Meadow Lane a few weeks ago. I was amazed by the beauty of it, but I was even more excited after I talked to you. Could you tell us a little bit about what Meadow Lane is, if people are not familiar with that yet?
Yeah, Meadow Lane is a gourmet prepared food market in Tribeca. And the bulk of the business is high-end prepared foods. And then there's a grocery element, so produce, organic produce primarily. There's a flower element because of my history as a florist. So we do arrangements every week. We do events. We do installations all around Meadow Lane. Flower installations that change each week. And then there's a consumer product area, so lots of snacks and pantry items there as well, and a coffee matcha bar with a pastry section too.
Yeah, I had a cinnamon muffin that was absolutely delicious.
Gluten-free cinnamon muffin.
I didn't know it was gluten-free.
Yeah.
It tastes amazing.
It doesn't taste gluten-free.
Yeah. That's true. But let's go from the beginning then, so everybody understands this story.
Yeah.
There was a store called Dean and DeLuca. What that represented to you?
It just represented a very wholesome destination for me. It was obviously a grocery store and a high-end one, but it just has this nostalgic feeling for me. I grew up going there a lot. And as a kid, going to the grocery store was like my favorite thing to do. So I would go there, find new snacks, get things I needed around the house, and also just hang out there. So
Did you
really
feel
fun.
sad when they closed down in 2019?
Yeah, I was very sad. I was walking, the street with a coworker, and it was we saw it was closing in Soho, and I was just like, damn it. So messed up.
Was that something that inspired you? Like, did you think back then, like, I'm going to have something like this? Or it was inspiration for what you have now?
Because it was closing and it was such an integral part of my routine and my life for like 20 years at that point, I was like, oh, I'm going to open a store one day. Like, I should do this one day because I'm so passionate about it. And then I never thought about it again. And fast forward, I think 6 years, the idea started coming more to life. I was, working an entire career in venture capital, and then the pandemic hit, and I decided to pursue my passion for flowers and became a professional floral designer. All the while, being always passionate about food and culinary, and I'd gone to culinary school for a couple months. I always thought one day I would have a passion project that was ingrained in food, but it ended up being, food kind of fell into it. Initially, my passion for Meadow Lane, or initially my vision for Meadow Lane was to be a flower coffee shop, sell flowers and coffee, have people be able to sit and work and stuff. And then I realized that there was a big hole in the market in Manhattan for high-end prepared foods. There's a lot of like bowl places. There's a lot of sweet greens, kavas, digs, those types of concepts, which is like ready to eat. It's prepared, but it's assembled in front of you. And it can get very fatiguing. Like you can get really sick of it if you eat it too much. So I wanted a place that had variety. And there's something like, I thought there was a gap in the market between someone who is going to go buy their groceries, prep them, cook them, and then clean their kitchen, and then fine dining, which is an ultra high premium. So something in the middle. And I thought that high-end prepared foods was lacking in New York. So I integrated that into the flower coffee idea. And then that's kind of where it all came to be.
And yeah, it's such a good point. And also Tribeca is such an interesting neighborhood too, where there's a lot of demand for that type of concept.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could have worked in a handful of other neighborhoods as well. But it's really tough to find a location that has all the right things that you need. You know, plumbing, venting, a sizable kitchen.
Things that we never think about when we're conceptualizing something, right?
Yeah, I mean, finding a space is a huge part of the struggle. It's very challenging to find a space that can accommodate the needs of your business. And this one didn't at first, but we saw the potential it had. So we put a ton of time and capital investment into making it what we thought we needed for the demand.
Well, good thing is that 20 minutes walk from me, so I can go anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you for choosing that location.
You're welcome.
All right, but let's go from, I think, like the part that I think is the most interesting. You decided to document all the processes and every step of the journey from conceptualizing to opening the store and until today after it's open. What gave you the idea of, let me just talk to a TikTok community?
I was getting the business going, you know, issuing trademarks and coming up with the logo and all the things. And I was thinking, okay, I'm putting together my budget. There needs to be a marketing budget. How am I going to market the business? How do I get the word out? So I met with marketing agencies because I didn't know anything about marketing. And I met with a couple of them. They gave me their strategy. They told me what their price point would be. And I was just like, absolutely not. There's no way I'm paying you that kind of money for your deliverables to look like this. Because the deliverables, like when I see a brand being marketed, I have like a clear aversion to what doesn't identify with me in terms of marketing. And what they were promoting to me or offering to me was just that. I had a massive aversion. I was like, I'm not going to try and sell my products and my food like this.
It didn't look refined enough, or it was just like
it didn't seem
more
authentic.
of the same. Okay.
It didn't seem authentic, and it just seemed like every other brand was doing this, and it doesn't work very well. And this is an extremely tough business to be in. Hospitality, you know, prepared foods, coffee, CPG, it's very tough. So I just thought it needed to be a unique way. And I downloaded TikTok around that time, and I started.
So you weren't a user yet?
No. I mean, maybe I had it, but I didn't ever looked at it. But I went on it to like study it. And I started looking at what content does well, what content performs well. And I noticed people love to see things done to completion. So your hair tutorial, your makeup, making a flower arrangement, making your morning coffee, making a recipe. And people really like that. It's like a form of reality TV. And I said, okay, well, how cool would it be to see a business come to completion? Like see every part of the process and build the business together, because a lot of people dream about being a business owner and an entrepreneur but don't have the opportunity to.
And I also think like we're so flooded by beautiful entrepreneurship stories that have no struggle. Oh, I started from nothing and now I have $5 billion, while like you don't see the day by day, right? Like what it represents. So I guess there was this lacking too.
I didn't really I never knew the term building in public. I learned that after Meadow Lane became more established. So I didn't have any reference points, but I'm sure people had done it. I know people have done it. But I didn't like study anything really. I was just like, okay, let's eat. I'm taste testing food on my own. Why don't I make a video about it? Because people are doing mukbangs. People eat their Taco Bell on camera. I could eat my Meadow Lane food and see what my audience, what my potential consumer wants on the menu. So I went with that and then got really good feedback and understood from the algorithm, like what is performing well, what's not, what should I do more of? Let me ask the audience what they want to see. Do they want
So
to.
you started like with 0 followers. You
Yeah.
posted the first video. What was this first video about? And what inspired you to keep going, or you had no other idea?
I think one of the first videos was like, come along with me to a construction meeting as I build my new business in New York City. And I don't think it performed really well because construction's not that sexy of a topic. But the next one I think was me taste testing parfait cups and overnight oats. And that one did really well. I think at the time it got like 120,000 views. And that was a lot for me. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, people are interested. And these big people in the food industry are commenting and they're interested, like they want to see more. I'm like, this is cool. I did, like, they're like, what else are you gonna have on the menu? I'm like, all right, next we'll do meatballs. And we just kept going with that and learning as I did more.
So it feels like the public was also helping you to build the business.
Yeah.
It's like was an exchange between what the community wanted and
Yeah.
what you wanted.
I mean, I got some good ideas from them for sure. In terms of my vision for the aesthetic of the store and the brand value and ethos, I don't think I took any comments into consideration there. It was a very clear vision. In terms of the menu and food science and shelf stability, I got some ideas from them for sure. Like, oh, are there going to be enough gluten-free products? Are there going to be enough vegan products? I was once worried about like the fried chicken not staying crispy in the packaging. And someone said, why don't you put it in a McDonald's clamshell? I was like, that is genius. And we did that, but we did our own custom Meadow Lane ones.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
But like how long did it take from the moment we started publishing to the moment you opened the store?
I think I was documenting the process of building Meadow Lane on TikTok for 17 months until we opened.
Is that the time you're expecting?
No.
No.
I was like, okay, I'll start TikTok now. This is the plan. I'm going to show people about the business on TikTok around 5 months or so before I open. And then we were delayed. And people were like, well, why? It's not real. You know, this is fake. Like, it's a whole bit. And I'm like, oh no.
Of course.
And I just kept getting delayed and freaking out about it because it was totally out of my control. I can't control the city. You know, these city bureaucratic agencies that every restaurant is at the mercy of. Like, it's nothing we can do.
And it's also something that you couldn't anticipate because you also
No.
didn't have the experience.
Yeah, it was my first time opening a store.
exactly.
I always knew they'd be delayed, and I was like, okay, maybe we'll be delayed 4 months. We were delayed a year. At first, the delays really bothered me. They always did, actually, because you're losing money every day.
Yeah, you're still paying rent. You're still
Yeah. And we got some rent relief, but it became its own bit. You know, no one thought it was real for the most part. And I kind of leaned into that criticism and that stress and embraced it. And it ended up being really fun.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like you needed a lot of mental health as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. When did you realize that you actually had a public that was anticipating this as much as you? Like that you had built this community? There was more just the marketing, right? Like you actually had
I think it was
engagement.
engaging with the consumer on TikTok.
Yeah.
And them making jokes about how long it's been taking, or like them saying, we're rooting for you, like you've got this, and me asking, should I just open this place with just a coffee bar and no food? And like getting their feedback, and they're like, no, we'll understand, we waited this long, like we'll wait longer. And then, you know, people making TikToks saying like it's a social experiment, it's not real. People visiting the construction site and saying like, I'm at the ancient artifact of Meadow Lane, like it's real.
Oh, so they're already producing user-generated content
Yeah.
even before it was open.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow, that's such a beautiful case study. But they were there, like, not necessarily falling for the business, right? They were, like, connected to you.
They were waiting for the business. They
Yeah.
were eagerly anticipating the business. And I also think, like, getting recognized on the street, that indicated the demand for this, because they were like, we can't wait for Meadow Lane. And I was like, wow, I guess, like, what I'm doing has some sort of direct impact on, you know, viewership, which was interesting to learn.
I am craving chicken fingers, and I also need to get some groceries for my apartment for the week. So let's go to Meadow Lane. We're here. Obviously need a basket. Bro, hi. I miss you. Thanks. I love you.
I love you too.
Montclair.
Really?
Yeah. First things first, tenders have been secured. I've never tried the meatballs, and apparently they're amazing. So I'm grabbing some of these. Grapes are the best grapes I've literally ever had. They are so crunchy. So these are going home with me. My hero saving the day and bringing the LA chop because I've never tried it and I'm so excited. Sorry, go. Whatever these are while I'm checking out look really yummy. So I'm going to get these too. Hello. Thank you so much. Goods secured.
At the day that you opened, how was the backstage of that day?
The backstage?
Yeah, like the behind the scenes of the opening day. What happened that day?
We were very busy, very tired, but like too much adrenaline to be tired almost. Because we had been prepping for so long before. And, you learn a lot each day the business is open. The beginning was amazing. Like, I was very euphoric.
Did you have a line at the door?
Yeah. We had a line around the block. We were anticipating a line, not for 3 weeks, but we were in the beginning, maybe the first couple of days. It's all new staff, right? It's their first time working in the store. So we needed to make sure they were comfortable too. And we also wanted the shopping experience to be comfortable for the consumer. It's a really small store. We're around 2,000 square feet. So we can't have like endless amounts of people. It's not a Whole Foods. So we needed to mitigate how many people were coming in at a time. And we didn't have enough staff or front of house staff to work the door and like usher people in. So we hired someone, or rather several people, to manage the door, but also like...
Was it at last minute, like, guys?
No, we did. I think we arranged it like a couple weeks before.
Okay.
And they were also like handing out treats for people waiting online, like hot food and like hot cocoa and apple cider, just to like, we appreciate you coming and showing up and showing support. Like, here's something warm to like,
Yeah.
enjoy.
When did you open?
November 14th.
Yeah, so it was already cold for people to be outside.
It was
It's
freezing.
a nice touch.
Yeah, and the wind from the river, it's really cold. Everything was great the first day. I was definitely stressed and anxious, but I was also having a great time. It was so exciting to like meet the first shoppers at Meadow Lane. And the tough part was we ran out of food. So we sold out of all of our prepared food.
In how long?
We opened at 11 a.m. I think we were sold out around 2:30 p.m.
And there were still people outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people. And we limited everyone to 5 items or less. So we would have been sold out within the hour, I think, if we didn't put that limit on. So some people were upset that they were limited. Some people were upset that we closed early, like, oh, I just wanted to shop the store, get a coffee, look at the store. I was like, yeah, but I wanted them to have the full experience.
Yeah.
So we gave them fast pass vouchers to skip the line the next day.
So like, yeah, you came yesterday, sorry you couldn't come, so you can come tomorrow. It'll be one of the first guests. Yeah. Very interesting. And how, for 3 weeks, how did you manage stocking everything? Did you have to, I don't know, produce a lot more than what you have now?
We could not keep up with demand for a long time, so we cut the menu in half and we took off a lot of things that were on the menu, so we limited it. And then we were able to increase the pars on them, so produce more of each item, which I was not happy about. But I think we had to do it, maybe. We lifted the 5-item rule, so people were able to buy more. And customers started figuring out how to navigate the store. And it was a much quicker pace. And then after 3 weeks, there wasn't a line anymore.
Nice. And how many people were there actually to see a store, and how many were there to see you? Because I was checking on TikTok. I'm not a TikToker, unfortunately, but I was checking on TikTok before this interview, and I saw so many people like with pictures with you. I feel like they're so connected to you too that you became one of the main characters of the store experience.
I don't know. I think they were there for the store.
Do you have too many selfies? Like when you start?
I think people came for the store.
Yeah.
I think, and then seeing me in the store and they're there and it's a small store, they're like, oh, can I get a picture with you? Like, for sure. But I don't think that they came to take a picture with me or to meet me. I think they came to experience the store.
For a brand and a store that was created first on social media, and we know how social media is, right? Like sometimes you have a lot of love, but sometimes you have a lot of hate too. Mm-hmm. Did you have a lot of the hate comments and people like... How was it for you?
Well, I had hate comments well before we opened. Like there are all sorts of things like, oh, like he can't open a business, he doesn't work, he doesn't know what he's doing, no wonder the store is delayed. Like people making all sorts of assumptions when like they don't know any of the facts. And there was that storyline, there's like anti-Semitic remarks, there's homophobic remarks, there's nepotism remarks, so all sorts of things, but like none of it really matters. Like I kind of just leaned into all of it. It neutralizes the hate, or like the hater, the troll. And then when I opened, or right before I opened on press day, the Vogue social media team did a couple posts, I think on TikTok and Instagram of the store. And from that post, it invited a whole host of angry people into my orbit that were like actively, you know, hating on me or the business.
So a lot of people that had no idea that you existed before, they discover from that article or that post, and then they came just to criticize.
Yeah, I think so. Because there was a lot of more hate after Vogue did a post.
Did it get an impact in the store? Like people went to the store to express their hate, or they stayed in social media? No. This is the problem. See, people can only do that
They
virtually.
can only do it. It's very easy to be a keyboard warrior when you're anonymous. I've never met anyone in the store that, you know, said anything to my... No one's ever said anything to my face. They feel very empowered to do it behind a screen, but I've invited them to say what they say behind a screen to my face, because it's just, it won't happen. That's why none of it's real. So you're going to get a lot of love, you know, when you build a platform or an audience on TikTok or somewhere. But with all that love comes a decent amount of hate. So the idea is to focus on the love part, because you'll actually meet your fans or the people that you identify with in the store, and they'll tell you the things that they say in your comment section. The other portion of people will not. They don't come to the store. Maybe if they do, they don't say anything. So that's like, yeah.
There was a backlash on pricing, and are these part of the hate? Because you, like, a lot of people will be shy, but I read that you actually like were super transparent with everyone. What was the pricing topic?
The media decided to focus, well, it was very politically charged. You had left-wing media asking, does New York City need another luxury grocery store? Without understanding the history of gourmet food in Manhattan. And that goes back decades and decades. And then you had the right-wing media, which was asking, well, what affordability crisis? There's no affordability crisis. Look at Meadow Lane. They're selling $65 olive oil and $750 caviar. But they picked the two most expensive things in the store, none of which we make. You know, like, of course, the largest tin of caviar that's imported from Europe, you know, is very expensive. And the olive oil is like from a 150-year-old tree. You know, we make prepared foods. Like, we offer that kind of stuff and people buy it. But we make prepared foods where the average meal is $23. And in New York City, that's objectively not that bad. In Tribeca, that's under competitor price point. So no one wanted to cover that. It wasn't punchy. So they stuck with the really expensive items, which outraged a lot of people because Mayor Mamdani ran his campaign on an affordability crisis. And that's all very well true. There is an affordability crisis. There's massive income disparity in a place like Manhattan. But two things can be true at the same time. That can be true while also there's a huge cohort of people that can afford to live in Manhattan that are not affected by the affordability crisis, that are shoppers at Meadow Lane and the hundreds of other places you can go.
Yeah. From my perspective, I went there and I bought cauliflower barbecue. It was delicious. Then I bought my muffin, peanut butter cookie, and I tipped, and I think it was $29. I found it pretty decent for Manhattan, yeah.
People that I'm in the store every day and I hear people come in for the first time, I can tell, and they're like, it's not that expensive. Like, what is everyone talking about? This is normal.
Yeah. I was expecting something like insanely expensive that I couldn't afford, but it was quite decent.
The media misportrayed Meadow Lane in a big way. Objectively, it's expensive, of course. Respectively, to a neighborhood like Tribeca, it's not. Tribeca is a highly affluent neighborhood, and it's kind of in line with what they would pay.
I finally got in to New York's newest gourmet grocery. apparently the most expensive grocery store in New York. Let me tell you, as someone who loves Erewhon, nothing can shock me price-wise. Meadow Lane is not even trying to be Erewhon. It's just the most beautiful gourmet grocery store I have ever seen. So let me tell you a few things that people are missing on their videos. The store is actually huge. Why are people making it look like it's so small? They have La Cabra coffee. It's very clear that everything here has been curated and all of the brands are genuinely good. Like, I really want this peanut butter and I want these cacio e pepe crackers. I also was like, yep, can't resist picking up one of these. Like, what even is this? Obviously the famous caviar section, which I did not buy, but if you want caviar to go, why not? The drink section was honestly one of my favorite. I really want to try this coffee. Every detail is just dreamy. TBH, between us, we bought the entire store and it was great. There were so many local people in there just filling their baskets up. The produce is high quality. And yeah, I'll probably likely be back every single day. Sorry.
There's certain things that are more accessible than others because we didn't want it to feel exclusionary. Yes, the space is designed like a museum, but that's just because I wanted it that way.
Yeah, I would love to get into that because the store is stunning. It's beautiful. Everybody takes pictures there. Did you think about the store being also a center for media and user-generated content? Because it's impossible to go there and not take a picture. It feels like we're in a movie.
I didn't think that. I just wanted it to be the grocery store of my dreams. So
this is where you wanted to hang out, like you built that yourself.
Yeah, this is where I'm going to be working. So I wanted the customer experience to be very specific. And I wanted them to feel a lot of ease and comfort and heightened senses. Because on the outside, in New York City, it's very chaotic and it can be overwhelming, and you can just like a place where you can like mindfully and like clock in to like, okay, I'm going to nourish myself, whether that's with food, flowers, beverage, kind of just be taken out of your day-to-day struggle and just be taken out of like your day-to-day stress. Yeah. And then once we opened, I saw how many people were photographing and videotaping, which is understandable, but I thought it took them out of the present moment of like actually enjoying the store. And people still do it, but less than in the beginning. But the idea wasn't for them to like make more content out of it.
Another thing that I want to talk about is the merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautifully displayed, as it's a beautiful store, beautifully displayed merchandise. But how do you select the products that are going to be there? Because there are very few products there. And how do you select them for your store?
I spent over a year taste testing different CPG brands. So hundreds of protein bars, protein powders, tortilla chips, potato chips. Some brands I always knew I was going to carry in the store, like my favorite pretzels and things like that. Tons of different vinegars and olive oils and olives. Like there's a million things to try. But we wanted to make the decision easier for the consumer. I think customers are paralyzed by an overwhelming amount of choice. And it's like called the paradox of choice. When you're faced with too many options, you sometimes don't even pick an option. Me and my team would do the research for the consumer and pick what we thought was the best of each category. Because we're also a small store, we can't fit that many different products. So curating a very selective group of brands and making the choice easier for them and allowing for a faster shopping experience.
Yeah. Do you think your background in VC helped you selecting this or knowing what the consumer behavior for these brands would be?
Yes, I think what made my VC career successful was having an inherent understanding of what consumers want and what brands are going to take off, understanding consumer psychology. That experience in VC and seeing companies perform really well lent itself well to having the same experience when I met with founders and tried their products as to the curation of Meadow Lane.
Nice. And do you see the potential you have? Today I was checking your TikTok again. It feels like you keep getting more and more followers. Today we're almost hitting 150,000 followers. Do you think that now that you became an influencer with a store, could you leverage this influence to, I don't know, promote specific products to your store?
Yeah, I mean, and the idea is to do that, but I don't really think the follower count makes someone an influencer. I think that I show a very specific niche part of my life, which is my business and growing that business. First, it was, building it, then launching it, now operating the business. I don't really sway too far away from that. I've done, 2 brand deals to date, really, where I promoted another brand and was able to monetize my platform, but I don't do that very frequently. So typical influencers are like showing every aspect of their day in the lives, like my makeup, intimate details about their lives, and then getting brand deals and promoting different brands. So it's like they're marketers. I only market the business. I'm like a spokesperson for the business. So I'm like the CEO, but also the CMO, because no one touches marketing besides me. So I don't feel like I'm an influencer.
Yeah, but you totally have an influence when you think that you are the one who selects what goes on the shelves of your store, and you also have the following that watches what you choose, right? Like, I think like you definitely can be influential.
Yeah, I think that, naturally with a certain amount of followers, like you have influence for sure. But I think in the traditional term of like what an influencer is in 2026, I don't think I quite meet that criteria. But I do think, if I taste test a new CPG brand on the shelf in Meadow Lane and the next day we sell out of it, that's influence, that's marketing.
Yeah.
And that does happen. And the idea is like the real estate on the shelf in the CPG section is limited. So, it really gives new founders and brands the opportunity to grow their business, and it has. And what we've been able to do for brands that have never been in a retail store before is amazing.
Yeah, I bet. You have important, I wouldn't say power, an influence to help other brands too. Now, you opened it's been 4 months?
We've been open just over 90 days.
90 days. That's a very recent store. What have you learned in these 90 days that you didn't know before?
Thousands and thousands of things. I had no idea that we would sell out of a 6-month supply of reusable shopping bags in a month and a half. And that, the implications of tariffs and shipping costs changing the price point of what we initially paid. Like, there's so many things every single day that come up that make you a better founder because you're learning from all of the mistakes that you made or just like changes in the world. Like, your business has to adapt and grow with the evolution of time. And there's just no way to kind of anticipate that. So I don't I learned a lot of mistakes were made, but I don't necessarily regret them because you learn a lot from the mistakes more than from the successes. So, as much as Meadow Lane was successful, even through all the trials and tribulations in the first 72 hours of opening, all I was able to do was focus on the 0.01% of negative experiences at the store. Whereas everyone in my life or working with me was like, look at the line, look at the revenue, look at what you've done. Everyone's loving it except these couple people. Why are you focusing on the bad? And I had to teach myself, that it's not healthy to focus on, the minority people.
Yeah, you have to zoom out a little bit.
Yeah, it was really hard and even today I still struggle with it because I want everyone to have an incredible experience, but that's not reasonable. It's not realistic. That's something I'm actively learning.
Is there something from the beginning that you do differently now that you saw all the struggles of opening the first store?
I think I would have launched with fewer menu items, like a soft launch with very few menu items. But the problem is the hype was so strong because I had marketed so many different products that people were hoping to try that if I only launched with a couple items, people would be disappointed.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have been better to execute just a handful of them excellent, perfectly, rather than shoot for the sun.
But it's good that I think even those that created that expectation of having so many products and later on they saw your struggle and they were comfortable with fewer choices, I guess because they have this contact with you, they also have this empathy.
Potentially. Some people more than others. We were expecting to do 300 transactions a day, 300 customers a day pretty much. And we ended up doing on average 1,000 a day. Probably hired more people with more experience in production rather than fine dining. because we became like a factory almost. Like the amount of product we had to push out to meet our demand was insane. And you really need people who are well versed in production and scalability. It's much more different from a restaurant. It's grab and go prepared food with a ton of demand. So
Yeah, not so linked to service is actually
the service element is at the coffee bar for beverages, but there's also everything in the hot case, like where you got the cauliflower. That's an element of service because it needs to be constantly replenished all day. We start it from like 10 a.m. and then it stops at 7 p.m. But that is, hot food made fresh, like right away. Everything's fresh, but this goes from the fryer or from the oven into the container, into the hot case, so it stays warm.
Let's say that we catch up in 5 years. How success look like for Meadow Lane?
I mean, judging from like the last 90 days, like I didn't take my revenue as a function of success. Like that wasn't an indicator of success for me or the profitability even. For me, it's customer satisfaction and the customer's experience in the store. Like I feel like I've had a successful day when someone comes up to me in the store and tells me like how much they loved, interacting with the staff, or they loved the design of the store, or they loved their miso salmon bowl. Like that is more fulfilling than a balance sheet, or, someone saying the same over Instagram or like writing a nice email. I think that's how I've been measuring success lately.
Do you see, having several Meadow Lanes around Manhattan or the US as something on your plan?
Yeah, I think I could see a couple more Meadow Lanes in Manhattan, and potentially out of state, further south, but not right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Figure this out first.
Yeah, we still have to figure out Tribeca.
Yeah, of course. You are the youngest guest I've ever had here. I'm sure you're inspiring a lot of other young people to found their own business. What did you say to them as your advice of something that you've learned?
I think the building in public thing is very interesting. I don't think I would have been able to amass the crowds of people and the lines and the demand that we have if I hadn't built the business in public. So I do a lot of TikToks where I talk about why, encouraging a young entrepreneurial audience and building their brand in public, if it's retail, hospitality, consumer, I think you can definitely do it. And it saves the founder costs on marketing, advertising, and PR, which are hefty. Like if you're bootstrapping your company, you want to be as lean as possible. So doing it yourself, as time consuming and laborious as it is, it could be really well worth your time.
Did you spend zero in marketing budget compared to several hundreds of thousands?
I spent $0 on marketing or advertising.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It was wonderful to learn more about the behind the scenes of Meadow Lane. The food was delicious. The place is beautiful. Thank you so much for building this up for us and sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you for having me.